everyone, I hope you're well. Welcome back for another video. Today's video is a guide to the Canadian city of Toronto. So I visited Toronto for 3 nights back in October 2022 and really enjoyed it, loved the city, so I thought I'd put together a little guide for anyone who is looking to visit the city. So first going to talk about how we got there, where we stayed, all that kind of information. So we flew from the UK. It was about a 7-8 hour flight, which wasn't too bad actually. It went pretty quick. We flew with Air Transat, which I'd never heard before, or heard of before, but found them to be really good. I think they're like a budget version of Air Canada, but didn't feel that they were a budget airline. We did upgrade to their like club class, which is sort of their version of premium economy. Managed to get return flights for about £800 each, which for premium economy I thought was really good. I think the prices have gone up quite a bit since then, so I feel like we got a really good deal and don't think we managed to get that sort of price again. But the service we received in club class was really good. We had lots of leg room, got lots of nice meals. There was only 10 seats in the whole little cabin, so that was nice. It was really quiet. I haven't really heard too much about reviews in economy, but I would be willing to fly with them. I just think you have to pay for checked in luggage and your meals, so yeah, obviously with club class that's all involved or included in the price, whereas in economy you have to add on all the extras, which is becoming pretty standard now for most airlines. So yeah, we went in late October, sort of the last week of October. My cousin who I went with and myself are teachers, so that was our October half term, so we utilised our time off work to go then. Found it was a really good time of year to go. The leaves on the trees were turning. They were really sort of like proper red, gold, yellow colours. So it was like sort of Canada in the fall, which was really nice. And we had really good weather. So it was about 15, 16 degrees Celsius. So we packed for cold weather, but we were sort of stripping off and walking around in sort of light jumpers, which was really nice. We had 1 day of rain, but that was the day we left and we were planning to do some indoor activities anyway. So overall the weather was good and it wasn't too cold. So yeah, would recommend going in late October. So once we flew into Toronto Airport, we then got the metro line from the airport to the city centre, and I found that this is one of the easiest metro systems from the airport to a city centre that I've found. It's just one straight line, so one journey, and it takes about 25 minutes. So yeah, you don't have to change line to get to the city centre, which is really nice. So you go into Union Station, which is pretty much outside the CN Tower. So it's then about a 20-25 minute walk to the downtown area of Toronto, but it was a nice walk and felt safe walking around. And the cost for the train was 12 Canadian dollars for one way, but it's was having a look online and it is cheaper if you get a Presto card, which I'll come on to when I'll talk about getting around and stuff. So yeah, would highly recommend getting the train. It was much easier and cheaper than getting a cab. We stayed at the Pantages Hotel, which is in the downtown area of of Toronto, and for 3 nights that cost us 605 Canadian dollars back then. I'll put up on screen the conversion into pounds, but yeah, really like the hotel. The bed was really comfy. It's one of the first hotel places where I've fallen asleep literally as soon as my head hit the pillow. The bed was that comfy. I'm sure I was a bit tired from all the travel as well, but on all days getting into bed, yeah, fell asleep straight away. And yeah, it was really nice location. It was sort of easy to get around places from there, so yeah, would highly recommend there. So I'm now going to talk about the things, what you can do in Toronto. So there's so much to do, even just walking around, there's lots of nice sights to look at. We did take advantage of booking a city pass, which is sort of, it kind of gives you entrance into lots of different attractions for one price. So currently at the time of recording, that price is £74, and it guarantees you admission to the CN Tower and the aquarium, and then you can choose from either a city cruise, the Royal Ontario Museum, the zoo, or Casa Loma, which is a castle. So yes, you are guaranteed admission to the CN Tower, which is well worth a visit. We did this on our first day. You need to pre-book your admission time, so you log on to the app and you select your time. I would recommend booking a slot about 30 minutes before sunset, so you get up there in the daylight, and then you can stay for as long as you want, so you can just sort of watch the sunset, which is really nice, and you get lovely views over Lake Ontario and over the city. There is a bit with a glass floor, but unfortunately when we went, the glass floor was being repaired, or it was having maintenance, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah, unfortunately we couldn't go on the glass floor bit, but the rest of it is amazing. There's some bars and restaurants there, so you can order food and drink as well, and yeah, as I said, you can stay up there for as long as you like. The lift going up is really cool as well. So it's sort of an open glass lift, and it only takes about 30 seconds to get to the whole top. So I'll insert a clip of the video I took going, I can't remember if it's going up or going down. So yeah, if you don't like heights, this is probably, you need to sort of just hide in the corner for a little bit, because yeah, it is an open glass lift, but the views on the way up are amazing. So yeah, you, with the city pass, you get admission to the CN Tower. You also get admission to the aquarium, which is located next door to the CN Tower. So we did this on our last day because we had the morning free and then had to head to the airport about lunchtime. So we did the aquarium to pass some time, and this is the day that it rained. So yeah, we picked a good day to do the aquarium. Really enjoyed it. I mean, I love sort of any kind of sea creature, so they had a good selection of of sea life. There were turtles, there were sharks, jellyfish, lots of like normal fish, octopus. So yeah, it's a good way to pass a couple of hours. It's really interesting. So yeah, you don't have to book for that. You can just turn up as and when. And then the attraction we chose to visit, so you can only pick one of the other four attractions, and we picked the Casa Loma Castle. So this is a famous castle built in the 1900s. I'll leave some information about it on the screen, and I'll leave a link to it in the description box. I really like castles and old buildings, so was happy to walk around here. It is about an hour's walk from downtown Toronto, but it was lovely to walk through the city to get there, and sort of as you got views of the castle as you were coming up to it, it sort of was really pretty. You can go around the interior and the exterior. The rooms inside are really grand, like there's a big conservatory, there's obviously lots of grand furniture around, and the rooms are massive. So yeah, it's a really nice castle to walk around, but then also the grounds are amazing. You can walk around those, and you also get a view of the city line of Toronto. You can see the CN Tower from the castle grounds, which is really nice. The reason this is quite a famous place in Toronto is because a lot of films and TV shows have been filmed there. I know Chicago was filmed, part of it was filmed there, X-Men, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So yeah, they're just sort of a couple of films that have been made, and if you go into the basement, they've got lots of film posters of all the films that have used Casa Loma as a location. So yeah, I think with the City Pass, whether you get a discount on the other excursions, I don't know if you do. I'll look that up and put any information on screen. But yeah, I would have loved to have done the zoo and the city cruise, but yeah, we chose to do the aquarium just because, one, it was raining, and two, it was sort of, that was enough. That was all the time we had before we had to head back to the airport. But would highly recommend the City Pass. It does save you quite a bit of money. It saves you about £40–50 if you were to buy all the individual excursions separately. So yeah, it's definitely worth doing. And then some other things just in the general Toronto area. There is the Toronto sign. This is sort of, I suppose, their version of the Hollywood sign. So it's big letters carved that spell out Toronto, and you can go and sit and have pictures. It's also in quite a nice little square bit, so you can, there's benches that you can sit on and sort of just, you know, spend a couple of minutes or however long you want there, sort of chilling out. And then there is a good shopping centre with lots of different shops. Like you've got your high street shops like American Eagle Outfitters. I think there was a Sephora. There was, yeah, lots of different shops there. And then you've got the harbour area as well, which is nice to have a little wander around. So yeah, that's sort of all the main things that we did in Toronto for using our City Pass, and then also just looking at the general area. Okay, so I'm now going to talk about our trip to Niagara Falls. So this was the main reason why I wanted to visit Toronto, because I wanted to go and see Niagara Falls. Obviously they're sort of one of the world's most famous waterfalls. So we booked our trip through Viator. You could hire a car and drive it yourself, but we chose to do an excursion. And we were picked up outside the CN Tower, so it was a really easy location to find. We drove, first of all, for about an hour and 90 minutes, and we stopped off at a little village called Niagara-on-the-Lake, and this was a really cute town. We had about an hour to walk around, which was really nice. So it's on the edge of Lake Ontario, so you can go and sit by the water's edge. I mean, the lake's huge, so it does look like it's the start of the sea, but it's not, it's the lake. So yeah, you can go and sort of sit there. The main street has got sort of lots of shops. It reminded us a bit of Stars Hollow from Gilmore Girls. It sort of had that kind of vibe. There were lots of cute houses. There was a pavilion, and then my favourite shop we found was a Christmas shop. So it's open 365 days a year, and it just sells Christmas stuff. So I picked up a little maple leaf like Christmas decoration to go on the Christmas tree. So yeah, that was well worth a visit, and could have stayed there for a lot longer than we did. There were lots of cafes and restaurants. So yeah, that was really nice, and didn't expect to kind of stop there. We didn't know that was part of the itinerary, but it was well worth a visit. We then drove on to what is supposedly the smallest chapel in the world, if not the smallest chapel in Canada, but I think they advertised it as the smallest chapel in the world. So yeah, we got to go in there, and it was on the edge of a little market that was sort of selling pumpkins because it was around Halloween. So that was really cute to visit, which was nice. And then we went and saw the it's like a clock, like a sundial that's been turned into a floral display, and that was really nice. So we just sort of stopped there for 15–20 minutes to get some pictures, and then we arrived in Niagara Falls just before lunchtime. So I think we got picked up about 8 o'clock, so it was sort of 3.5 hours to actually get to Niagara Falls, but that was with lots of stops on the way. So we booked as part of our ticket to do the Hornblower experience, which is where you get to go on the boat up to the falls, which was incredible, and I would highly recommend that. You will get wet. They do give you some ponchos, which you are allowed to keep. I've still got mine. And not that I wear it, but yeah, you will get wet. So if you want to take your phone, just be careful, because the spray is like being under a shower. It is that strong. And then the floor of the boat does get a bit slippy, so very nearly did slip over. If you want to stay drier, I would recommend staying on the lower half of the boat, but if you go up the top, obviously you get a much better experience. You kind of can see everything. We actually stayed on the bottom half because most people went up the top, so we actually had lots of space to move around and we could kind of swap sides from the boat. So yeah, even though you get a better view upstairs, I would recommend staying on the lower deck because you get a bit more space and you can move around. So yeah, this is such a worthwhile experience. You go past the Bridal Falls and then right up to the horseshoe, and kind of the boat then turns around and brings you back. Overall, it's about a half hour, 45-minute boat ride, and it is worth every second. So yeah, we did that. We could also have done the experience where you go behind the falls, but we were told when booking that you can only choose one or the other, and it was the Hornblower boat was kind of more recommended rather than going behind the falls. But if you did the trip on your own, you probably would be able to squeeze both in the time. We then had about 2.5 hours of free time after the boat trip, and there's so much to do around the waterfall. I mean, we spent a lot of time just walking up and down, sort of stopping, just looking and soaking it all in. We then had lunch overlooking the waterfall. There's a restaurant right up near the horseshoe end of the falls, and if you get a good seat, you can get a window seat which basically overlooks the waterfall, which is amazing. But there's like a theme park there. There's lots of shops for souvenirs. So yeah, the whole day was absolutely amazing and well worth a visit, and I would love to go back. So yeah, that was the main reason for our trip to Toronto, but well worth it. I'm just gonna finish now by talking about sort of general bits and bobs. So we found that Toronto was a really walkable city. We walked everywhere. I mean, we walked a lot, but it was easy to walk around and walk in between places. But there is a metro system if you don't want to walk too far. They have something called a Presto card, which you can buy in a lot of sort of like grocery stores or off licenses, and then you top it up, or you can just tap with your debit card. I don't know if one's cheaper than the other, so I'll do a quick bit of research before editing this video. But yeah, the walking around the city's lovely. It felt really safe as sort of two young female travellers. So yeah, I had no problem getting around. The famous sports team there are the Toronto Jays. They are a baseball team. They have their stadium down by the CN Tower, and there's sort of a big souvenir shop, so we had a wander around there. And then another thing that we really enjoyed about Toronto was the food. So obviously being in Canada, we had to try poutine, which is I mean, it sounds not particularly pleasant. It's chips with gravy and cheese curds, but oh my god, it was amazing. So yeah, would highly recommend trying poutine. We also tried tater tots for the first time, which are sort of like waffly chips. They were really nice, and of course in Canada you can't not have maple syrup, so yeah, pancakes every morning for breakfast smothered with maple syrup was absolutely lovely. So yeah, that was just a quick guide to our time in Toronto. Would absolutely love to go back to Canada in general, but also to Toronto. So yeah, if you've been to Toronto, leave any recommendations yourself in the comments, and if you're planning a trip, then I hope you have an amazing time. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.